Good afternoon, parents and everyone present today. So today, as the proposition side, in today's motion, this House will amend the education institution in wealthy or developing nation with large population of international students pay a portion of the student tuition academic institution in developing country. So panels, as the proposition, I believe that this motion is because the current global education system operates in deeply unequal and exploitative way. So panels, before we moving into my argument, let us define the motion clearly. So this policy means that university in developing country that receive the significant number of international students will be required to allot a portion of the tuition fee paid by those students to educational institution in the student country of origin, especially in developing nation. Currently, panels, we can see university in multinational often operate like the largest corporation that profit massively from international students through the tuition fee that are several times more expensive than those paid by domestic students. At the same time, panels, we can see this institution also absorb many brightest talent from developing countries, create where we call brain dead, where talented students eventually contribute their skill, innovation, labor toward the strengthening developing economic instead of helping build their own national. Meanwhile, panels, we can see university in the developing country continue struggling with the lack of funding for infrastructure and then weaker research facility and limited education resources. This is create the very biggest unfair cycle of global inequality. Developing country invest in the raising talented students only for the wealthy institution for profit from them, while local education system remain undeveloped. So panels, I bring the three goals in this motion. Firstly, our goal is stopping the exploitation of human capital without the compensation. So panels, we want to stop the current system where developing nature continuously benefit from the brightest talent in the developing country without giving meaningful compensation back. Many talented students from developing nature contribute their intelligent labor, innovation, and future economic productivity to world country, while their home country lose valuable human resources after investing year into the raising of education debt. And second goal in this motion, breaking the cycle intuition inequality. We aim to reduce the enormous educational gap between the university and developing country. So currently, will the institution continue to become stronger through the global funding and talent concentration? So this is our second goal. Third, creating a fair system and education reciprocity. We want to ensure that international education create the direct positivity impact for the student home country as well. So panels, this is our three goals as the proposition. Let me go the mechanism we bring in today's motion. So we bring the two mechanism in this motion. This first mechanism is tuition redistribution without adding extra burden to international students. So panels, before implementing this motion, the government international education regulator will require university in developed country to allocate a small percentage of the tuition fee that already received from the international student toward education institution. But however, panels, we strongly emphasize that this policy does not add extra financial burden to a student. And secondly, our second mechanism is about transparent education development fund. This redistributed fund will be placed into monitored educational development program, specifically targeted toward the improving university in developing countries. So this is our mechanism as the proposition that panels will stand with us. So let us go into my argument. I bring the two arguments in this motion. So let us clarify our first argument. Our first argument is about the breaking the cycle of global education inequality. So it's about the current global education system continuously concentrate resource, talent, prestige, and multinational, where university in developing countries struggle to survive. Why does this inequality happen, panels? Because we can see students often choose to study abroad not simply because they dislike their home country, but because the university and developing nation frequently lack advanced facility, research, funding, scientific journal, and much more. Meanwhile, university and developed country continues to become stronger because they possess enormous financial result, including endowment fund that high tuition. This creates a repeating cycle. Talented students leave because a local university cannot compete and local university cannot improve the talent funding continuously. So through this motion, panels, a portion of this international tuition fees will be redirected back into developing country institution. Why is this important? Because we can see this financial distribution can significantly improve the university standard globally. For example, panels, I take the very simple example, university in country like Indonesia can use the fund to build the advanced laboratory, access expensive academic that need to pay, and then improve research quality, and then last is strengthen the local innovation. What kind of inequality puts the student away? Because we can see students from developing country often face the outdated facility, limited scholarship opportunity, and then poor research funding, but they need to pay the research and ornate the journals. So as the result, many students feel must leave their country simply to access the quality education and global opportunity. And if this motion implement, a university in developing country will gradually become the more competitive and capable to retaining local talent. So panels, the opposition may argue something like development universities should prioritize their own situation. The student become the build this system independently. But panels, we can see this ignore the reality that this institution also heavily profit from international students or generally from the developing national. So therefore panels, our side not punishing the developing university. We are creating a more balanced global education system that reduce the structural inequality and allow developing country institutions to grow rather than remain permanently. So this is our first argument. So let me go into my second argument about the financial efficiency through the multiple effect, a strong foreign currency. Why this is important, panels? Because we can see we must recognize something like economic reality that currency from developing nations such as USD, GDP, or the KRW have significantly higher value and purchasing power compared to a currency in developing countries. This means this even relative small percentage of tuition revenue from wealthy universities such as 10 or 15% can create the massive impact when transferred to developing country. For developing university, this amount may only represent a small reduction in surplus income. However, once converted into a local currency, the fund becomes exponentially more powerful and developing national due to exchange rate. For example, a funding amount considered minor in the United States or the UK could finance laboratory equipment, scholarship, internet infrastructure, lecture, salary, and much more. Why this is matter? This create the high efficiency redistribution because one stream of the global funding can generate much larger education impact in poor country that's well inside the already wealthy institution. Panels. So panels, if this motion implemented, we can see developing country university will gain stronger financial stability without the fast integration growth, without the requiring unrealistic domestic budget. This will improve infrastructure and much more. More importantly, it reduces long-term dependency on foreign institution, and then because developing country gradually become capable of producing high quality education domestically. The opposition may argue something like university developed country also need the fund for their own operation. However, the institution already among the wealthiest education system in the world continue to receive the enormous international tuition revenue. A small redistribution will collapsing them for developing national at the same time. So therefore, panels, our side create the far more efficiently and impactful global education model where financial resources is reproducing according to need and development impact. So in the end, our side proved that this motion create the fair global education system. So our first argument, we show the policy help break the cycle of inequality between university of developing and developing country. Through our second argument, we proved that something like our small financial distribution from wealthy institution can create the massive education impact in the poor nation due to currency and purchasing. That's why panels should support our side. Thank you.